So, all right, well, welcome back. We were just joking about a couple of things in there, and maybe we'll put that on a run in the backside. But we're back with Shearese Stapleton with Mothers of Joy University, helping out single mothers, and we had just finished up how she had sparked the idea of getting with Carriage Town and the moms in the basement and coming up with the idea. And then I know while there was some difficulty and depression going on, I know while you're going through stuff, there's also some funny things that tend to happen. So I know you got to have a couple of funny stories for us.
Well, like I said, when let's talk about in shelter. In shelter,
explain in shelter.
Okay, excuse me. Let me say this.
Yeah.
So when I say in shelter, that means being in transitional housing, being in shelter.
Okay.
There was a day when I had to clean up, and this is when Carriage Town had steps, and you had to vacuum down the steps. I think I complained down the whole
Every step.
I mean. This don't make no sense. This ain't my house. I don't know why I'm doing this. They need to have people come in and do this. I mean, it was a whole thought process, right?
Yeah.
I guess God said, I'm going to shut you up. The whole bag just opened up.
Wait a minute. So it's one of them old ones that has the baggie stick in there?
You know you're
how in the world? Look at your face.
All I could do. I'm so mad. So mad.
You're like right in that moment right now.
So mad.
Like, how did it break?
Well, it just came apart. Like, I guess God was like, you know what? You're going to keep complaining. I'm going to give you something to really complain about.
And you just...
And... so when that happened, all I could do was laugh. I was like, you gotta be kidding me right now. Why is this happening? So that part. Then there was a time where, and this is funny, but yet it's a reason behind it, right? You couldn't have a certain amount of makeup. And during that time, I was finding myself what I wanted to look like. And women go through these things and that. Yeah. And in my purse, I had a lot of makeup. And the person, because they have to check your purse when you come in and when you leave out. So she was checking my purse and she was, why do you have all of this in here? Nobody needs this many lipsticks. Nobody needs, and it was a whole conversation, right? And so I got sent to the person, right? And she was like, Shearese, you're going to have to downsize your makeup bag because you're making it really hard for the attendant to check your purse. And it's starting to be a problem and we don't want it to be a problem. But after I told her my reason, I'm glad that she understood what my reason was. My reason was, this is all I have. This is my stuff, right? So I don't want to leave it here. I don't know who's going to be going through my room or what. This is mine. So having a car if you're in shelter is actually one of the best things because you can leave things in your car. But that was funny because I think I started doing it on purpose because
you didn't like all that. You didn't like all that.
Well, she was, you know, when a person is dealing with trauma, you don't know the reason why they do stuff. And that's why I'm thankful that I was able to see a lot of those things because when I deal with people now, I look at the whole picture, not just what's happening right in that moment, but what happened a couple days ago and what they're about to go into in a couple days ahead.
Yeah, because when you're in that, when you're in that down and out situation, you'll get petty.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? You don't like that orange.
You'll do stupid stuff like put something in there that knowing you might get in trouble about just to see if they'll find it. Right,
just to see what they'll do about it. And those poor people, they're trying to help, and it's like today's Tuesday fight day.
Right,
ding.
And she like, you know what? Just go. And I'm like, thank you, you know, but I truly thank God. I mean, I wish I wouldn't have went through some things, but I'm glad that I went through some because when a person comes to me now, when a mom or a family comes to me now and they say, I've been through this. I can say I relate and truly mean that I relate. See, and that part makes it where you put in the work to help them because you know what it takes to get from point A to point D.
Yeah, that's like it's like life boot camp. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
boot camp's one of those things. You're like in A training. You're like, man, I'm glad I went through that, but I have no interest in doing it again. And
Right.
it's like because the level of understanding that you get is so much. And as a young person, you're just whatever. But you're not understanding the way you're communicating on what you're producing is creating that negative. And then you're blaming everybody else for your actions.
Big
and surroundings.
time. Blame
And
game is
because I
real.
don't deserve this,
Right.
you're going to be wreaking my wrath.
That's right.
Right.
You get it. All of
And
it.
you got that little guy in the corner. He's like, "Let's get ready to rumble," and it's just like, it's
Right.
like, and it's go time, and you don't even have to have a reason anymore. And that rage and anger because I don't deserve, and it's not
right.
my fault because, and you start. That's where people turn into that victim, right? But you didn't do that. You took that negative and you said, "How am I going to survive?"
Oh, don't get me wrong. The victim thing came
Oh, it's
every
a
now.
fight.
It came now again. It's like a back and forth kind of thing. It's like, you know what? I'm tired. I don't want to go through this anymore. You know, I deserve better. And then the other part says, you know what? Who are you? Why not you?
Yeah,
So,
I call that the F squared.
Yeah.
That's a forever fight.
that part.
That's that forever fight. You know, the old cliche, whatever wolf that you feed. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that's you deal with that all the time. Like me, I had a rage issue. Like I would fight at the drop of a hat. I didn't even have to have a reason. I just bored. Like, you know what? I need that adrenaline dump. You know, and so I would be on it. And
Anger is a thing pertaining to ACEs, and I'll tell you about that soon.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
and that's the second one now.
Yeah.
And that's the aces. The only thing that beats that is if you're playing euchre. So, which is a
Ain't that
Michigan
funny?
thing. Yeah, right. So I understand like what you're saying in that. So you got in a situation, and you're how old right now? This is 2014,
2014. Oh, my
2013. So 2011, 2013, you were homeless.
Something. I'm like 40 something.
All right, so
Yeah.
basically you started off good, and then 2008, everybody hit that, right?
Everybody.
Lost everything, realized there's more to life, started looking another direction, and you went back to school when?
I did. I went back to school in 2015.
Okay.
And everything happened at the same time. It was like we moved into the place, went back to school, started working for the people, and it was like, all right, life is good,
Yep.
you know? Went to school going for psychology, right?
Right.
Think I was going to be a psychologist.
Okay.
And child psychologist at that. So
Okay.
the professor I had at he looked at me and he said, Shearese, he said, you don't want to do psychology. And I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I've looked at all of the things. What do you mean?
Yeah.
He said, you would do better in social work. Because I started with early childhood. Because
Yeah, he's right.
With that, he was like, you would do better in social work. And I
Yeah.
said, well, what do you mean? He said, psychology is limited. Social work has so many different avenues.
Yeah.
And then he said,
And you're really outgoing too. And as a psychologist, you wouldn't be able to do all
Well,
that.
even-
Whole part of your personality would be
But
suppressed.
there are some disciplines in social work that you have to look into too. But they're kind of trying to change some things within that.
Okay.
But moving forward, I did really well in a lot of classes then.
Yeah.
Then I went to Spring Arbor because they told me that I could get what's called a family life education degree.
Okay.
That degree no longer exists, but
Wow.
it was on the lines of social work, and it would have put me in place to do some other things. That didn't work out.
Yeah.
So Spring Arbor State, go to Mott, do your basics there.
Yeah.
I did that. Then it was like I was going to school. And for some odd reason, they told me, well, you're supposed to be responsible for the classes that you take. You're supposed to know the track you're supposed to be on.
How you
and I
supposed to know?
said, how?
How you supposed to know what you don't know?
But that's the thing. In college, some people expect for you to know what exactly it is that you want to do. But they're also
As an 18-year-old.
right.
Man, come
no,
on,
no.
man.
This is in my. This is in
Like,
my.
I know you're in here, but I'm
Yeah,
saying they're going
but-
to say the same thing to an 18-year-old.
That part.
Yeah.
So now they're doing things in a different way where advisors are putting people on an academic and educational track that actually helps them to move forward to what it is that they want to do.
Yeah, did you do that test or that personality trait test?
a long time ago I did.
Oh,
but,
okay.
But now, because of everything that I've done and all of the spaces that I've been in, I know that this is a part of it, right? So,
Yeah.
so I started University of Michigan Flint during the pandemic. So, January
Of course you did.
of 2020,
That's just the way your life
I
is.
decided to go to school,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay.
Yeah, March 2020 hit.
Look, but I'm like, okay, this is happening.
Yeah.
No, excuse me, 2021. That wasn't accurate. I was finishing up my in 19 and 20. I did programming all that time.
Okay.
But in 2021, I went to U of M Flint, and all of the social work classes are now online. So I didn't do well at the first part, right?
Yeah, online's tough, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Because you're teaching yourself, right? Yeah, and like people that can do that, God bless them.
I am an interacting type person,
Yep, me too.
and I need to talk to people.
Yeah.
So
I need that reaction to know that what I'm doing is the right thing. Yep.
So I use email a lot. I call professors. I talk to them because I'm like, hey, I don't know what's going on. I don't understand this, or can I have a time where we can talk about this? And they're like, yeah. But the reason I think they're like that is because they understand that this is not the way that everybody learns. And I understand that when I teach my classes, I do a lot of visual aids and a lot of pictures and things like that.
Yeah, very visual.
And then when we do one-on-ones, I do the conversation. And I wish college was like that. But I know it would be hard for a professor to do one-on-ones and then teach, and they got like multiple
300
classes.
Kids in the class.
That part.
Like I get that part, but like the thing that I find funny is like being a person that I'm visual.
Yeah.
Right. So like, and I can't see that good. And the rose-colored glasses and the one-eye thing, and it's like, listen, I need you to make sure to understand what I'm saying. It like one of the reasons I hate email and text is how like women get mad at guys because they'll text and they'll say K or thanks or whatever, and y'all get
Short
mad.
Words.
You know what happens if we don't do that?
Yeah.
Y'all are trying to register what you think our tone would be based off of the response that you think we were going to have in a situation that we didn't even think of.
That is communication 101.
So let me give you an example. I want to test the lady versus the man on this one, okay? So lady texts, what do you want to have for dinner?
Tacos.
Okay. Most of the time a lady would say, I don't care. You pick. And you text back, tacos. I don't feel taco-y. Which means you do care about what we had for dinner. You just want me to know what you want. Look at fingers up. What we have here is a failure to communicate.
No, so
so it's not just me.
I get that. A lot of times women women, wives, daughters, children, because I call my son and do the same thing. I text, what do you want to eat? He'll say, I don't care. But if I come home and cook vegetables and something, he don't want vegetables. Right. And I know that. And sometimes I might just do it because you didn't give me an answer.
Right. Now you're going to suffer.
But that part. But what I do, that's so bad. What I do understand is that when you give people options, you can do something like, okay, I was thinking today is Wednesday. We can have tacos, hamburgers, or lasagna. From those three, what do you think we should have?
Chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry.
Yeah. So giving people options, not just giving an open-ended question where you say, "Well, what do you want?" Because if you have someone like that, that means that they want you to say something more. They don't want to make the decision.
Right. Like the whole reason I was bringing that up is because most people, in my experience, when you're doing this, is they don't want to make a decision.
No,
I love to make a decision. I want this, I want that.
Yeah.
Like when I'll text, I'll go, do you want cheesy, salty, or burgery? Like those are my three. I'm going with one of those. Something that's clogging the arteries, trying to clog the arteries, or a friend of something that clogs the arteries, right? But I have found like so many people, like you go in there and you go to help them with something and say, okay, here's your option. Well, I don't know. Well, what do you think? And I'm like, it doesn't really matter what I think. Like, what do you like? And what I have found is when you ask somebody the question, what don't you like?
Right.
They got a list.
Yep.
Right? Like, let me give it to you in detail, alphabetical, so you can find the thing that I hate.
Chapter 1.
Right. But when you go, what do you like or what are you good at? Do you know, in my experience, they have no...
People can tell you what they're not good at.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, it's not, because what it is, people focus on negative more than they do the positive. That's why I said in this day and age, I think more gratitude. I think more being thankful. I think in the present, because when you do that, it makes you to focus on what is good and not what's bad. Because think about it, you may have a loaf of bread, some bologna and cheese, but you may not have no mayonnaise. But guess what? You can still make a bologna sandwich, and you can actually fry it, and it'll still be good, right? But it's all about how you view the thing, your perspective of what you're looking at. Glass half empty, glass half full. It's still some water in that glass.
Right. But what I've learned is that's like when I did the life application class, is identifying that people struggle with lying more than they learn how to tell the truth, struggling with anger than more than they be calm, right? And identifying those in a position, so proving to them that they see it from a negative perspective and saying, isn't it weird that in a situation, do you know somebody who would lie when they have the ability to tell the truth? And they'll go, yeah. It's like, isn't that weird? They'll go, yeah. How many people like being lied to? Nobody raises their hand. How many people lied? Everybody raised their hand. Like, it's weird, right?
Well,
just weird.
It's actually not. It's a learned behavior.
Well, in learned behavior, I agree. I also think when it comes to problem solving, the situation comes to, when you're not looking at a positive and what's the expected outcome and goal oriented, it's just how do I get out of the situation. So the thought process is completely different because you're just trying to get to the end of the day, and trying to get people to see that is like part of our functional goal when we do spiritual warfare unit in our life application classes. And so getting you guys to think that same way becomes a massive, massive deal. And that's why I love everything that you do. And we're going to take a break right now. We're going to get back into what you're doing now and all the cool stuff. If you guys haven't checked it out, please check our life application class and spiritual warfare unit on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. Check out our website, and we will see you in a couple of minutes.